Hey guys, moving into a new week, and there's a few things that happened last week that just made me think this is what I'd like to talk about today. It's 2 days away from my rebirthday, my 30th rebirthday, December 14th. So it's a very special time of the year for me. My life changed forever 30 years ago. I'll talk more about that on the day. But my life is changing and evolving by the millisecond, by the blink of an eye, by the moment. And I had a really interesting conversation this week that I wanted to share with you guys, because all of us are living and experiencing in different ways. And one thing that came to my attention in particular was a conversation I was having with somebody about success. And there was a real frustration for this individual because intertwined in his definition of success was what he was doing with his life and how he was affecting change on other people and his financial stability. And it's really interesting how we've kind of been molded into that place. And we all go, I know, I don't value myself based on how much money I have and all that, say a lot of people. But in reality, when you're in my shoes and you're working with people, the finance thing is a huge, huge thing that people equate with. It's like, I've got everything I want, I'm doing what I want, but I don't have the money. Look, I can totally relate to that. Like, my grandfather, my mom always teases that she was the poorest doctor's daughter on the circuit. And it's very funny because those of us who are kind of in that realm where we are independently serving, we're not working under a system where there's like a guaranteed paycheck or somebody's paying our, paying us to do what we do. It's actually interesting because a whole lot of us are attracted to the professions that we're in, where we are in service in that respect, where we're running our own businesses and all, because of a certain type of personality that we are. And because we're givers, we like to give, we like to connect and be there. And a whole lot of us aren't great with money, because like I'm not a great timekeeper. Because look, I've been dead, I've been out of this realm. And so time really, I have a hard time connecting with that. I know it's a valuable commodity for a lot of people. I know it's great in kind of marking events and keeping on schedule and all that. I've struggled with that forever. It's just not my forte. Does it mean I'm a bad person? No. Does it mean that I'm selfish and don't value other people's time? No. It means that it's not an area that I excel, because it's not as important to me as certain other things and doesn't get as much time, attention, and energy as other areas of my life do. And so for finances and for this conversation I was having with this guy who was valuing himself based on financial stability, it was really interesting because like he gets it, he got it, he gives and works. But I can totally understand that too, because if I actually didn't have somebody sitting in my office who collects the money, I would go home with nothing at the end of every day, because I am that person who's like, just go on, because I'm when you get in that zone and you're just there to serve, like half of my patient log is on a student fee, because I'm just like, I know they're struggling, and I don't, and I forget about myself at the end of the day in regards to that. And imagine if I valued myself and my worth and my contribution and my success based on that. It's just a part of my personality. Like, I'm the kind, like, oh, here, you need this jumper, here, let me give it to you. And that's not, because I'm so wonderful. It's just, it's a program that runs in order to allow me to do what I do. Can that be changed? Can that be upgraded? Of course, we can do that. But there were some lessons, funny enough, in my 30s and 40s that I really needed to learn about the value of service and the value of sitting with people. And one of those things was having to value the pennies that I had, because I wasn't going to have very many pennies. I went through bankruptcy. I went through, I raised my children by myself. And so I know that 6-day-a-week grind. I know that I hope we can make that the mortgage this month. I know those feelings. And because I'm also the type of personality who is experiential, I don't value my worth as an individual based on whether I made the light bill a day late, or if I gave away half of my care today and because these people were genuinely struggling or whatever. I don't consider that to make me successful or unsuccessful. And so it was a really interesting conversation to have, because people's way of receiving money and valuing is all changing. You know, part of this great reset, they call it, which we all know what's going on. Well, most of us know what's going on. Well, some of us know what's going on. Maybe a few of us do. You know, what's happening right now is they're digitizing the currency. Like it's obvious. Cash is going to be quickly moved out of the picture, because that way we'll be able to mark and control what's happening. This isn't a fantasy, a fairy tale, or whatever. It's something that we've been slowly moved into with tapping of the cards and you know, making everything about digitized currency, which some people love. Like the kids who've grown up on that, they think it's the most fantastic thing. They love their Revolut and their PayPals and all that. For those of us who are like, what happens if that doesn't work and I'm in the grocery store and I need to pay for my food and all that? Like, we have a bit more life experience based on what it means to show up and have not, and what happens, because it's, you know, it's going to be bumpy as we make those transitions. And that's been happening for quite some time now. And it's not their problem to sort, that's our problem. Like, if you turn up and you can't pay for something, tough luck, sunshine. So we're in that midst of that transferring of the way that we pay, the way that we use currency, you know. And there are a lot of people who are for the decentralization of banking and all, and that's like a whole nother story. But it does involve finances and how we value ourselves, how we work, and how we exchange synergistically. I do this for you and you pay me this for this service, and how we're going to do that. So I thought it was a really interesting conversation that I had with this guy about what it meant to be successful. And so for me this week, I really, really was heartened at a time where it's quite easy to be disheartened with everything that's going on. And I just, my heart, I just felt so wonderful, because there were a lot of really cool things that happened this week. Let me show you. So I got a goodie bag from the Foil Pride Festival. Look how cool this is. They sent me all this really neat stuff saying thank you. And why? Because I helped launch the Foil Pride in Derry this year with my book Hugh and the Manatee. And it's just a big deal, because you know what? At a time where we've got a lot of keyboard warriors out there who love to pass judgment and, you know, use all sorts of funny new words that we're like, what, you know, and everything's got to have a label, and you're this or you're that or this way. Like, and you make one wrong move, or you say the wrong word, or you take the wrong breath or whatever, and now you're a this. You know, you're a victim denier, or you're a victim blamer, or you're an ableist, or you're a whatever. Do you know? I get it, but there is a real excitement out there to always put a label on something. You know what? We're human beings, and sometimes we're going to do the right thing and say the right thing, and sometimes we're not. But what this week did show me, like with my goodie bag from Foil, I was so excited because I showed up for that. I might not do everything right or say everything right, and I've had to learn and grow and evolve just like everybody else has. But that means the world to me, because it means that I did something that was important to them and to their movement. And that was their expression of gratitude for that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's successful. I feel successful when I open that package and I see that. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then let me show you this. So my little, one of my favorite human beings, my little Liam, I put pictures up of him every now and again. And he's been with me since he was just a tiny little thing. And we are just like this. And Liam's autistic, and I love his family so much. Oh my gosh, his mom Bernie is so awesome. And just to have grown with this family is just, So in they walk and they hand me this t-shirt. Look at this. It takes a special person like you to hear what a child cannot say. Oh my God. And I was just like, you know, so when I'm defining success, oh my gosh, there it is. Did I know everything there was to know about these human beings when I first started working with kids who are autistic? No. You know, did I call them the right thing or say the right thing or do the right thing? No. I just showed up. I showed up with my heart, willing to learn, ready to openly communicate, assisting in however, you know, whatever way that I could. And I get a little t-shirt like that, and it just, their success, you know, and I can hear people out there going, yeah, that won't pay the mortgage. But it's funny because it does, because of the way I value success and value what success means to me, because of the way I've defined it, the other stuff just shows up. And so this is really interesting, and this is kind of the point of this conversation, because this is what I was trying to talk to my friend about when we were defining what success meant for him, and what it meant to be just showing up for people and doing what you do best, and that you might not get it right all the time, and that to value yourself as successful solely based on what you're doing financially is a very slippery slope, and it's quite frankly, yikes. You know, and I have so many great people. I don't care what their opinions are. I don't care. Everybody's got something to contribute. And so then I have one person who comes in here who's just literally like a stand-up comedian, and she brings me this. Never mind the COVID bollocks. It doesn't matter to me what your personal opinion about that is. That's hers. And because what this shirt means to me is that she feels safe to come into my space and talk to me about something that isn't necessarily in line with the status quo. And I'm like, that's success. The fact that she values what I have to offer, which is my ear, where she feels like she can come in and talk. I don't have to agree, disagree, anything. It's that she feels safe in my company. That to me is success. Let me show you this. I'm going to run down here in the dark. Another one of my patients comes in the other day. Oh my gosh. Check this out, y'all. This is what she painted for me. Look at that. There's a tree of life. Look, there's my Arcturian. There's the cat's whiskers tea that once saved my life. That's the way she sees me in spirit, the wolf, and that's the waterfall where the cat's whiskers teas come from. Look at the angels. Look, she recognizes and listens to my stories, and like, there's me, born February 23rd. I'm a Pisces, but I was also reborn on December 14th, and I'm a Sagittarius. There's the tree of life, the stories about the black birds and the way they show up in my life, the color, the the infinity. It's just, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful expression of what I mean to her. That's success. Oh my gosh. And so that to me is priceless. I wish I was at home because I have another painting that my friend did for me where, and it's of my house. And it's so funny because both of these artists, they were just like, this is new. It's just an expression. Oh my gosh, it looks like a child painted it. And my friend Saoirse painted a picture of my cottage. And you know what that means? Because it means that I opened my home to her when she needed it. And that she's welcome in the home of my heart. And so she, you know, had to go at painting and painted my cottage because that represented love and connection and understanding. Oh my gosh, like that's priceless. That to me is success. And so I think it's really, really important. Gosh, the list goes on. Oh, here's one. This one came in this week as well. I've just been showered with gifts. Check this out. So he's 9 now. I've known him since he was just 7. And this is called Village in the Stars. Oh, Village in the Stars. Okay, but let me tell you what's so cool. That kid comes in and he found me. And he got his mother to bring him from very far away to meet me. And you might think that everybody in the world is seeing the world the way that you do, but you know, that's not necessarily the case. All of us are having different experiences, and whether you believe it or not, or you think somebody out there is crackers because they believe something that's different than you, it doesn't really matter. That's you know, your limited thinking if that's the way you think. Because this kid brings this in, and guess who this kid is? He's not from here. He is able to tell to the, you know, the exact number, the exact date, the exact distance, exact star, where he comes from, and he isn't from here. And guess what? There's a whole lot of people like him who are walking around on this planet. And he sought me out, and the child is 8 years old, and he came and like he speaks multiple languages that you would have never known, and it's not just blah, 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 blah. And like these are that has an, you know, they have alphabets, they have frequency, they have
like, it's mind-blowing. I was so excited because my friend Angelica, she's been here the last 3 weeks, and we've been doing some hardcore work, and she got to sit while the two of us connected, because that's what we do. His mom brings him here and we get to talk, because he's not actually, he might be in an 8-year-old body, but he's from somewhere else. And the idea that he gets to step out of that for a moment and connect and be who he really is and speak. He's a scientist, he's an astrophysicist where he comes from, and he's not from this plane. And you might go, oh God, she's lost it now. Yeah, ask the witnesses, ask his mom, ask the people who got to hear the conversations. Just because it's not happening necessarily in your scope of reality doesn't mean it's not happening. So I look at that picture and I'm going, oh my God, that child found me, who's actually somebody else from a different experiential dimension than what we're having right now. He sought me out and he found me, brought his mother here so that he could have conversations about what's going on, because it's very just, it's stressful for him, the fact that he isn't here, and he knows he chose to come here. But that he can't really have those conversations with too many people. And the fact that he can have those conversations with me, oh my gosh, that's success, right? How do you put a price tag on that? Are you kidding? That changes my life at a time when life is so uncertain and there is so much negativity out there, and there's so much, that those threads of dark and light are so necessary in the tapestry of life. I get that better than anybody, But boy, some of those dark threads can be very, very scary and very difficult. And so when you see these kids coming in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it reminds you on a daily basis, there is so much more than what you think you're seeing right now. The following day after that child, another child who's autistic comes in, and he sits down, and he and his sister, who is his twin flame, are chatting away about the time when they were, when they were off this plane 31 years. She came in 2 years after he did, and they're just chatting away like normal conversation about the fact that they were outside of Earth, for that period of time. And as twin flames, it was difficult, the separation, because she chose to come back a little sooner than he did so that she could be here to support him when he came in. And then you're like, oh, these autistic kids, oh my gosh, we've really got to help them. Are you for real? Success is having arrived to this space that we are in awe of what those children are bringing to this world. Oh my gosh. And so that happened this week too. And I'm like sitting here right now, like the cat that got the cream. I feel so abundantly wealthy right now. It's not even funny. Do you know? And so to people out there who are really struggling with that whole definition of what success is, dude, look, I talk and joke about this kind of stuff all the time. I'm like the worst with holding money or keeping money, because I always give it away. I try to be better because I have a responsibility to myself and my family, but I'm not very good. I struggle at it. I really, really do. And it's an ongoing struggle, and it's not about not feeling worthy, and it's not about having some kind of attachment or, past life issue with money or whatever. It's that I tend to be so focused in one area that just, I'm like, whatever, because I know that it just shows up for me when I need it. And I don't have it in bucket loads out the back or anything like that. But whenever I need it, it's just there because I expect that. And it's really interesting. You get what you prepare for. Oh, I remember my friend Michael Bernard Beckwith, who I'm so blessed because he wrote the foreword to Understanding is the New Healing. And he said that, he said, you get what you prepare for. And it's so true because, I'm getting ready to go on a great adventure with my girls and my mother. And it's so interesting seeing some of the reactions for people who really care about my mom. And they're like listing out everything we're not going to be able to do because we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're this and we're that and never. And it's well, you know what? And this is dangerous. And my mom's like, I'm 92, I'd rather go on the adventure than sit at home any longer. And, the list comes out of genuine concern for what's not going to happen. But see, the thing about us is we're all about what can we do? What can we do when we can't get anywhere? We're not able to walk in. We're not able to go sit down in this particular restaurant or do whatever. I guarantee you that we are going to be reporting into y'all and having a freaking ball. And that's success. And that has nothing to do with the money. That has nothing to do with where we stand, in our financial stability. It's that expectation that you get what you expect. You get what you set out to create. And if you're in a space where you're creating adventure and expectation, like this world is so unstable right now, like it's like so unstable, but that's this world. That's what we came here for. And we get caught up in all the hoo-ha and we forget all that. So I think it's really, really nice if you'd sit down and kind of have a look at what is your definition of success right now, and how are you defining how you're moving forward? For some of you out there, you might have been so terrified that success right now means just being alive, being upright, having made it through. Maybe you had COVID. Maybe you were terrified of getting your injections and you got them and you're still standing. Maybe you are terrified at losing your freedom by being forced to do something that you don't want to do and you've stood your ground. Maybe that's success. Success is meaning something different to every single one of us, and none of us have the right to judge what that means for somebody else. Because it's gonna, you think this is gonna ease off right now. It's not, because, you have people who are clinging to the idea that under no circumstances are they going to be told what they have to do with their body. And then there are other people who are telling a different story and who are so caught up in the narrative that when facts are put in front of their face, they can't even hear that. That's the pure definition of cognitive dissonance. For example, I had a really good friend call me today and invite me to go see a movie, West Side Story. Oh, one of my favorites, and I would have loved to have gone. And I was like, gosh, I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed into the cinema. And he was like, what? And this is someone who's I respect dearly and who's highly intelligent. And I went, yeah. And he goes, well, yeah, but you've got your immunity. And I'm like, yeah. And they won't let me in because I don't have a vaccine passport. And there was that moment, that dead silence, that spoke volumes to me about where we are, because I don't think it's maliciousness or it's lack of concern. I think it's just complete lack of awareness of where we've gotten. And so I heard that pregnant pause there and I went, wow, he really doesn't realize, I can't go into the coffee shop and sit down. I can't go watch a movie with him. And then it was just like, oh. So it's going to be really interesting watching how this unfolds for people. I heard all sorts of really wild stories this week about, school principals who've got sick staff out because they've got pneumonia, or a school teacher who measured 12 degrees Celsius in a room that by law needs to be 18 degrees Celsius. And then going, well, did you report it? And she was like, no. And I'm going, and just watching how people act and react to what's going on around them. And slowly but surely, people are going to act and react in different ways. And it's going to have to get quite painful for some people out there to actually see what's happening. I think my friend got a bit of a land today because it hadn't dropped or registered. That was his choice to get vaccinated. And I 100% support that, 100%. And I support my right not to. And in the crossfire of that, I don't think it really registered that because of my choice not to, that I'm not allowed to go into the cinema, even though I can walk in and prove my immunity status, and someone with a QR code can prove that they got an injection, but they can't prove immunity. And so it was just like, oh. And there's going to be a lot of O's happening in the near future. And so we need to approach those things with kindness and compassion. And again, for me, that's success. If we can get through this next little while without ripping each other to shreds, that's another definition of success. Because we're going to have to really help each other out, because they're going to be people who are financially struggling. Places are going to shut down, as we begin to realize that there are groups of people that are going to get sick that we didn't expect to get sick, who are not going to be able to turn up to the places that only they're allowed to go to. And it's you're going to see chaos, okay? We're already seeing some chaos, but it's okay. It's okay. We're going to walk through this together. And to me, that's yet another definition of success. So just wanted to leave that with you today. 2 days off my rebirth day, doing a lot of thinking and a lot of introspection, a lot of growth. And I'm just grateful. I'm just so grateful. So keep her lit, y'all, and enjoy the first of the 12 days leading up to Christmas. And I love you all.